5:30, Connect to the Capitol, live here at 5:30. Governor Dan McKee standing with us right now. What is his administration doing about sky-high utility prices this winter, and what are his thoughts about sanctuary cities? Governor McKee, it's always good to see you. I appreciate you making some time for us and the viewers here on NBC 10.
Happy to be here, Dan. Thanks for the
Let's
invite.
get it right out of the way. I know it's been reported here and there. Are you running for re-election?
I pre-announced I will make it official on March 3rd.
Yeah, you excited?
I am. I think we have a Rhode Island 2030 plan. I think for the first time we've seen in polling that less people think we're headed in the wrong direction, less than 50%. So we're continuing to working on that Rhode Island 2030 plan, Dan, which is simply raising academic outcomes, raising incomes, and making sure we're healthy enough to live in the state. I think that people are starting to understand what we're getting done.
Do you think it'll be a tough run because of some of the things that you've inherited or just happened under your administration, which was, of course, the bridge and the data breach?
Well, I think it's how you manage those things, Dan, rather than the problem. You know, you inherit a bridge that was being repaired that couldn't be repaired. 3 months later, it was a big, certainly a major disruption in people's life. But since we decided to build the bridge, by the way, now the bridge is actually completely torn down on the upper level, which is right on schedule. We're ready to award a contract early in June. We got the financing in place. Traffic flow is basically where it was before. So it's a matter of how you handle it.
Right.
And so I think that since we decided to tear down the bridge, I think that it's been handled very well in terms of the time frame. And I think that in the end, people will see that it's not going to cost them money. We got the money in place.
Right, you said that.
And it's going to be a situation where we'll make an improvement. But right now we're monitoring. Traffic accidents are down. I think people mostly, people who are living in the past kind of remember the first 3 months, but people who actually see what's going on, and you and I had conversations during those first 3 months, it was very hectic and it was a real issue. Now it's not as much. And as far as the bridges, you know, the Rhode Island Bridges breach, we handled that extraordinarily well as well. No benefits were delayed through that whole process. Partnered in with Blue Cross and United and Neighborhood, make sure nobody lost their health insurance. And now we're back online. Now it's just like in the bridge. I've identified people that I think are responsible. We've got lawsuits going against them. You know, the Attorney General is looking into where the accountability is on that Rhode Island Bridges breach, and we'll hold them accountable. So, so I think in the end, it's what you do with the emergency, not necessarily the fact that you inherit these things that you have to manage.
Right. Let's. You just came back from the governor's conference with President Trump, where you said that he was actually kind of acting kind of a bullyish with Maine's governor over her stance on trans athletes. We have a viewer question from Christopher Cook on Facebook who asks, what is McKee's policy on sanctuary cities and immigrants coming here? Is he willing to lose public funds for the state? How do you feel about that?
Well, I think that our position is very consistent, Dan, than what it's always been. We're going to work with ICE if there's criminals in the state. Anybody who's out there saying anything different, which there's a couple of people saying that I'm not going to cooperate with ICE, with our state police, whatever, we're going to do that. We're not a sanctuary state, but we're also going to, and I've answered this before with you, we're not going to profile you or your family or anybody else. That's against the Constitution, and we're not going to do that. So we will definitely and encourage, if we have criminals in the state, whether they're legal or illegal, we want them to be held accountable.
What about the mayors that have said they want sanctuary cities? I think Mayor Smiley may have been on the record as saying that, you know, that creates kind of a conflict between you and the city of Providence, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure that he's gone that far, but I've been very clear that we're not a sanctuary state.
Okay. Any worry about public funding if you don't fall in line with everything the president says? Because obviously he made that very clear at the governor's conference that you were sitting at.
Yeah, and as you said, I think he was way out of line to bully in public in front of the cameras a governor that you know, had basically you know, been very cooperative in terms of the proceedings that day.
But it was that feeling that, hey, if we don't follow him, he's going to...
To me, we're doing the right thing. With the Judge McConnell has ruled again on Friday that they can't hold funds that have been appropriated. We feel very confident on the bridge funding, but for instance, that our congressional delegation is going to secure the money. I'm confident that we're going to get that, and I'm also confident that any dollars that have already been appropriated
are coming
Congress
this way.
Are going to come out.
All right, a big issue, Eversource at National Grid lowering customers' bills by 10% in Massachusetts after some pressure by the Department of Public Utilities and your colleague, if you will, Governor Healy in Massachusetts, who says 10% is not enough. So we have a viewer question from Sergio Carvalho. Sergio, I hope I didn't butcher that. He says, can you please ask the governor what he's doing regarding the large increase that we are experiencing experiencing with our utility bills. We are hearing from viewers constantly about this. Are you putting any pressure on them to get a cut for us?
So first of all, you got to understand what the cut is. My understanding is they might reduce costs, but they're going to spread this, what we've been saving in future bills to the customers of Massachusetts. Check into that.
Okay.
But what we're doing is, I've been meeting with with our director there at the DPUC, which is the Division of Public Utilities. We'll open up a docket so that we'll kind of review what's there, what could be done. We got high energy costs.
Right.
Do you think
are you going to
that.
put pressure on them to say, hey, my constituents can't afford it?
We'll put as much pressure as we can, but you also have to. There's the utility has, you got to prove that they are mismanaging in terms of the rules that they're abiding by. So we'll ask for an open document. I've done that. Open the docket as a lieutenant governor. I'll do it as a governor. And where we can save dollars, we want to save real dollars. $27 million went back to the ratepayers.
But you're feeling it too. You must get your utility bill, and your wife will say, hey, what the heck's going on here?
Especially in the colder winters, it even looks worse.
Yeah, it is.
But we just did $27 million back to the ratepayers that we were able to make sure that we held the Rhode Island Energy accountable for additional funds that they had over and above what was allowed. That went back to the ratepayers in a December credit of over $60. I think the people who are struggling on their incomes are getting $140 over the year. So we're aware of it. But I can tell you that that's one of our biggest discussion points in the state is our energy. It impacts not only households, but it impacts our ability to bring business in. And we don't have an oil well. We don't have a gas line. And the current administration is going to pull the plug on, I think, what is important on the renewables and as well our offshore wind.
I got 30 seconds, Governor. Hasbro, it looks by many accounts that they've already made their decision. They want to go to Boston. What do you know? What have you done to counteract that?
We know that they had a meeting in February. We don't know what the decisions were made in that meeting. Anybody who knows that, give me a call.
You feel confident?
I think that we provided them a proposal that is very difficult to walk away from. If they do, then we're going to wish them the best, and we're going to continue to bring in more companies in the state that are actually growing. Remember, Hasbro is a shrinking, employee count. Good company. We want them to stay, and we're doing everything we can to make that happen.
You a betting man?
Am I a betting man?
Are you a betting man? Do you think they'll stay or go?
I would say we've given them every reason to stay.
Okay. All right. I'm not putting it down, Governor. I'm not going to Twin River. I'm not going to Twin River with you. That's for sure.
I don't put my money on the table, but we've done everything we possibly can to make them stay.
And at some point you have to say, hey, that's all we can do.
And we're working with other companies that are actually growing, that are in the state, like that want to stay here, that want Regent and Breeze Air, which has doubled up their staff, the first hub in the state of Rhode Island's history at the airport during the time I've been governor. So
great. I'm going to hold you there, Governor. We could talk all day, but I appreciate your time and talking to the taxpayers.
Okay.
Emily?
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.